Everybody, so Riot recently put out a video, the preseason and rank changes dev update. In this video, they talk about the new rank season that's coming up, how they're going to make changes to that, as well as a mythic item update. So I figured I'd watch through this and take notes on it and talk about it because I think a lot of people are really happy that mythic items are being removed, and I'm going to be blunt, I think a lot of people maybe shouldn't be that happy that mythic items are being removed. But let's watch this video and let's see what they have to say. I'll turn on our closed captions on.
I'm Jeremy, also known as Riot Brightmoon.
Okay, so Riot Brightmoon looks like he's very new. He hasn't seen anyone in a bit. Like, he's never seen player feedback. He's very happy.
Hey folks, I'm Andre, also known as Meddler.
Ah! That's why he looked really bad. He's Meddler. He's been here for a while. Yeah, there we go. This is why his face is like that. He's been working with this community for years. He knows exactly what we're about. He's like, oh, these sons of bitches again. Oh.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy, also known as Riot Brightmoon.
Hey folks, I'm Andre, also known as Meddler. Today is August 17th, and we've got a lot to cover today.
To start, we want to talk about an update to how we approach ranked each year in League of Legends. We're going to be moving to 3 ranked resets per year.
Let's take a note on that. 3 ranked resets per year. I'm going to be completely honest with you. That's a good thing, actually. I think this is a very good thing. I know a lot of people are angry at this because they don't want to continue to get ranked resets, but like 90% of the time when people were playing ranked, what happened, in my opinion, is people would go like into ranked in January and February and they try really hard and they do these climbs, blah, blah, blah. But then like the thing is, the season doesn't end in February, right? So like for all the other months, right? I have to look up their names over here because I'm very forgetful. For March, April, May, June, July, August, September, November, all the other months of the season, no one would really be doing that much. And people would smurf and people wouldn't try hard. People would get their ranked demote guard at Diamond and then they would just troll games. To be completely honest, I'm going to be blunt with you guys. I think 3 ranked resets a season is good. That gives you 4 months a year to climb. Well, 3.5 a year. I shouldn't say a year. 3.5 per season to climb. I think that's a good thing. It only really takes you realistically about 2.5 months to climb. The thing is, if you don't want to play in a ranked season, you don't have to. You could skip that season. You could do the next one, right? You could do all that other stuff. So, yeah.
And we want to explain these changes a bit before we hand things over to our game director, Pulu, who will talk a bit more about what that entails.
League's had a year-long ranked structure since the early days. Some of the details have changed a bit over time, but the core's been...
Look at those eye bags. You guys probably can't see them because you're not in high def. Can we go higher def here? Can I really see the eye bags? Oh, he's the sort of dude who's been dealing with this community for a while. Those eye bags are massive. He's just like...
long ranked structure since the early days. Some of the details have changed a bit over time, but the core's been pretty consistent. Ranked kicks off in January, and then runs until just after Worlds in November, at which point we jump to preseason, we experiment with some gameplay changes. Now, there's a lot we think works well about that. There's a great kickoff to the season moment, there's a clear endpoint, game and esport have some nice synergy with each other, that sort of thing. But at this point, we're also seeing some opportunity for improvement. One long, gradual climb over 10 months can feel like a real grind, with a long gap until a fresh climb. There's that down period at the end of the year where often a lot of people will want to play ranked and can't. And sometimes it's just a long time until we've got the next window for larger changes to Summoner's Rift gameplay. It's also often unclear when the next event or larger update to League is going to be. Now, this year you will have noticed we tried out a faster ranked climb.
Okay, so I think what he's saying and what he's trying to not say so precisely is that a lot of people, when he says it feels like a long climb, people are excited at the opening and end stages. He doesn't mention that 8-month period in between the season starts and the season ends. There's this like 8-month period where people don't really try their hardest. They're not really giving it 100%. They're not really doing stuff. I'm going to be blunt with you guys. The race to Challenger is a big deal. The race to get your high rank is a big deal. Keeping Smurfs from being high ranked is a big deal. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really consider as well, and this is just my opinion. I think trying to keep Smurf accounts from always being high rank is like a really important thing, because basically what happens is People play in an account, they grind for a bit, they play in another account, they grind for a bit. Basically, if it's harder and harder for people to keep these Smurfs high rank, they'll have to play on their main accounts more often. People being forced to play on their main accounts more often keeps games better. I guess I'll just say better.
We think that went well overall, and that there's opportunity to create more moments for gameplay changes that can tie in with other things going on in the League ecosystem. So, with all that set up, here's Pooh to talk through some more information on these changes.
Hey everyone, I'm Pew, aka Pew Pew Lasers, and today I'm going to take you through some of the upcoming changes.
Who are you? When did this guy get here? I have never seen this man before in my life. You're the design lead?
We're making a preseason and ranked splits in League of Legends. As mentioned, we're moving into a 3-rank split per year structure with resets between each one.
Yes.
This should hopefully result in more impactful games and a faster climb for each split, and it also means you'll have the opportunity to earn 3 ranked skins each year. Part of the change to this model is taking a look at preseason. Past preseasons have gone onto PBE in early October, giving players a lot of time to explore and learn the gameplay changes that will be featured for the coming year. The flip side is that by the time the new season starts, the gameplay changes no longer feel new. In other words, the time in which players are most excited to play with the new changes and the time in which players are allowed to and excited to start their rank climb were not aligned with each other. So this year, and in each year moving forward, we're planning to have preseason hit PBE in mid-November with an official release in January of 2024 on the same patch that ranked and esports play begins. The current rank split will stay live through November and December of this year, giving players more time to get to their desired rank. Now, this is a new approach and does carry some risks, so we're going to have to be really on top of it in terms of the balance and the meta at the start of each split. We think the trade-offs are really worth it, and we're excited to start 2024 off with a bang.
Okay, now how many times are they going to say this will be worth it, this will be excited, this is going to be great, I like this is a good idea, etc., etc.? Like, the problem is, I think from my perspective, I don't think Riot actually puts in enough effort to have 3 big changes per season. Sometimes they have 2, but 3 big changes a season. Now, if they start to do actually like big differences between like the different splits, that'll be a big deal. But typically what happens is the preseason starts, they do a jungler rework. I think we all know that. The season starts, we get our jungler rework. Maybe we get a newer rework dragon. And then that seems to be it lately. So if you're telling me we're going to have exciting things for all 3 splits, the only thing I can think of realistically is they're going to start taking like extremely minor changes, things that like could impact the game but aren't really that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. Like, here's the Mythic tank item update, and then that's like the entire change for the split. You know what I mean?
If you'd like to learn more, we've got a dev blog on this topic that's live now. In terms of what's in preseason, we have a lot of changes that we're working on. We're looking at terrain adjustment.
So what you have to remember is that preseason is still 4 months off right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so like September, October, November, December. December, I think they said they'd start ranked earlier. No, they said they would start at the beginning of January. So we're still 4.5 months off these changes, mind you. So what do they get? Terrain adjustments. I think they actually talked about this the other day. By the other day, I mean like half a year ago. They talked about they want to make it harder to gank, I think, top and bot by changing some of the terrain. That would make it easier to play defensively.
To parts of Summoner's Rift, changes to map objectives.
Changes to map objectives, okay.
And significant modifications to the item system, some of
significant modifications to the item system. Now, is that just the Mythic item removal, or are they talking about more?
Which I'd love to share with you today. Earlier this year, we said that we weren't really happy with how Mythic items landed, and that we were open to removing the system entirely if the changes implemented didn't bring us closer to where we wanted it to be. And well, they didn't. So starting in January of 24, Mythic items will be removed from League of Legends. Trying to serve the needs of a bunch of different champions.
Okay, I don't understand. So they said Mythic items. Do they mean only legendary items will be in the game? Are Mythic items getting removed? They're not being very clear on the wording here.
With a few Mythic items has proven to be really challenging. And while it works pretty well for about half the roster, the other half is left with items that don't feel really right for them or have their creativity stifled. While the Mythic item tier will be removed, we will be adjusting current Mythic items that players really like to be exciting options rather than...
Okay. Some Mythic items will be legendaries. Okay, I'm actually really keen on his wording here because the way he words it leads me to believe not many Mythic items will actually become legendary items after, well, I should say normal items after the system. Look at the way he words this.
Be removed. We will be
Current Mythic items that players really like. Do you see how they say that? Current Mythic items that players really like. That means, in my opinion, it's going to be like Infinity Edge, Gale Force, Landry's, maybe Everfrost, Heartsteel perhaps? No, Heartsteel not being a Mythic would break a lot of champions. I don't know. So the way they're wording it leads me to believe like only 20 to 30% of Mythics will become legendaries. Losing a lot of these items is not going to feel good. I promise you that. Even though they're saying not every champion could find an item they liked, a lot of champions could find items they like. Will Iceborne Gauntlet become a legendary? Maybe not, because Iceborne Gauntlet would be really unfun if it wasn't locked in at a Mythic, locking you out of other items. What about Stridebreaker? I can nearly guarantee Stridebreaker will be removed. Gourd Drinker? I don't think Gourd Drinker will make it. If you want me to be blunt, I think Riot will kill Gourd Drinker. Divine Sunder and Trinity will probably make it, but I think like a lot of items are going to get removed that are going to be like actually good items.
Adjusting current Mythic items that players really like to be exciting options rather than prescriptive centerpieces. So that means you can go back to buying Infinity Edge with Trinity Force if you'd like. You can learn more about other items.
No one's going to build Infinity Edge with Trinity Force. This isn't like Season 2. People know how to build items these days.
Changes and everything else we're cooking for preseason when we do the full reveal, coming soon. TM.
Awesome. So we know absolutely nothing. I did this whole video to reveal absolutely nothing. Great. Most Mythics will be removed. Because when they say some, they mean most are being removed. Great. Awesome. So most Mythics are being removed. And we'll have more map objective changes. I'm sure this means Rift Herald will probably be buffed. 90% of the time they try to push top lane, they just end up pushing Rift Herald, which top laners can't even get. So fat fucking who gives a shit. Terrain adjustments, which might actually help top lane. If the jungler can't just sit in top lane forever while also clearing half their jungle because they're right next to top lane right there anyway. 3 ranked resets, I like that too. What's the rest of this video?
A lot of you have been waiting for some news on what's up for Arena after the Soul Fighter event. We're really excited about the response to Arena, and we think there's a lot of opportunity to make it even better again. Arena's debut run will end with the Soul Fighter event, as previously discussed. But
okay, so Arena removed after Soul Fighter event. I kind of felt that was going to happen. The waning popularity of Arena and some of the balancing missteps they made. I'm going to call it balancing missteps. They kind of pushed Arena into the one-shot haha funny mode. And the problem is that, like, it's not always the most fun to do haha funny one-shot. Like, yeah.
That's so we can take it down, make a bunch of upgrades to it. So the game modes team is already underway on that work. And the next version of Arena will drop in early December.
Okay, so Arena comes back. Arena comes back in December after updates. So I think that's what it needs. I think it really needs to have builds and viable playstyles that do not revolve around pure damage. Pure damage is funny, I agree, but like when every single team is trying to do a stun lock into one shot, it's really not that funny actually.
We're still figuring out exactly what will be in that update, but we're looking at things like adding a lot more augments to give more game-to-game variety.
Yes.
Improved champion viability so you can have a good time.
Okay, well, saying we want to improve champion viability. Great, everyone does. That's okay.
A larger variety of your favorite champions into Arena. Some map adjustments and ways of playing with more than just one friend.
I don't think Arena is so competitive. I'm going to be blunt with you. I don't think it's so competitive that allowing like 4 people to queue up would ruin the game. It's kind of like TFT, right? If you remember, like in TFT, yeah, you can kind of help each other. Yeah, you can kind of work together. But for the vast majority of people, I think in Arena and in TFT, you should just be able to queue. In TFT, can you queue with like 5 people, 6 people? TFT is kind of like a fun game mode. I just wish, you know. Yeah, custom arena, queuing with 4 people, stuff like that. That all needs to, in my opinion, be in the game.
So, on the subject of game modes, while we're taking Arena behind the scenes for some updates, we do have another game mode that is finally giving us time to shine again.
Nexus Blitz is coming back.
Nexus Blitz in October. I'm gonna be honest, they need to give Nexus Blitz the arena treatment. 90% of the problem of Nexus Blitz and why it started to become really boring, I'm gonna be blunt with you, the problem is that most of the like objectives, most of the random events basically boil down into, and now do a giant team fight. And the problem is that, and now do a giant team fight, just kind of got old. It kind of got snowbally. It didn't really feel like you should build differently, be funny. There weren't things like even something stupid like a foot race. Imagine it does 5 series of 1v1 and you foot race to the end, and you can't kill each other, but you can stun each other, you can slow each other, you can speed boost yourself. Something funny like that, right? So you know what I mean? But in the current, well, I should say when Nexus Blitz got removed, most of the objectives just boiled down to kill each other here, kill each other there, kill each other everywhere. It just, yeah.
Back in late October for a 5-week run. Now we know this has been a long time coming, especially because we promised you'd see Nexus Blitz in 2022, and we did not deliver on that.
Oh, I'm gonna have to write that down. Riot lied. She believed. No one's gonna get that reference.
Now, the game plays as you remember it, though with a few tweaks to account for changes since its last appearance, like the updated jungle items.
On a different note, as we mentioned in a previous dev update, we're still also working on improving bot AI to both enhance the new player experience and also make playing against bots feel more like a real game. We'll be having our first player-facing technical test of the new bots on PvE sometime next month.
We're currently
New
focusing on
bots.
bot work on helping new players.
Oh, okay. Boy, I didn't think there'd be this much content right at the end of the video. I won't lie to you. New bots for co-op game mode. Now, if they do this, I wonder if they could bring back some of the... I wonder if they do this, if they could bring back some of those old PvE game modes. I actually think there could be PvE game modes that could be fun if you play with like friends and stuff. Or maybe like, you know how Arena has like the one person in the middle? Could you imagine there being like actual like PvE game modes? Like, I don't know, like a 3v3 v2, and then there's like 2 bots. I don't know, something like that. I'm just thinking if bots are actually going to get good at this game, they could do a lot more interesting things with it.
Learn the game. So these bots are deliberately intro level at the moment.
Oh, never mind.
I expect most of you to crush them easily.
Never mind.
But we'd still love your feedback on how they look and feel. And check out the dev blog that just went live today for more info on how to do that.
Okay, that's nearly it for us from today. Next time we talk to you, we'll cover our new champions and champion updates, including Skarner, who's still on track for a release early next year. Before then, though...
Ah, good. Skarner still not coming. Ever?
We'll also see Jax's visual and audio update, which will be revealed sometime mid to late September.
And if you want more...
I'm not even going to write that one down.
Dev blogs on...
Don't worry, guys. The Jax update is coming. This time for real. This time for real.
Thank you so much for watching.
That's it? Okay, so what do we got in this video? I'm not going to spend too much time going over this. 3 ranked resets per year. That's good, in my opinion. Terrain adjustments, that's good, in my opinion. You should, if you actually want to like gank top lane, you should have to commit to actually ganking top lane. You shouldn't, and bot lane too. You shouldn't have this weird situation where like, you go to gank the lane, then you go take a scuttler. Then you go to gank the lane, then you go get a Krug. Then you go to gank the lane, and then you finally leave after trying to gank 3 times, right? Like, I think the jungle should actually just be farther in the jungle, and it should not be right next to the lanes. Yeah. Changes to map objectives. I'm assuming it's just gonna be some needless nerfs to Dragon and then some buffs to like Rift Herald that always is. Mythic items removed, some mythic items will be legendaries. Not looking forward to this. There's a lot of mythic items I just know are gonna go away that I actually think are good and fun for the game. I also think there's gonna be some balance issues. They'll probably push like Iceborne Gauntlet into a legendary, then they'll probably remove it or nerf it into the ground after they realize that you know, like they'll be like, oh, this is actually really overpowered if Urgot has Iceborne Gauntlet, right? I don't know, something like that. I'm just thinking out loud here, right? And so, like, yeah, I'm expecting this to not actually be as fun as people think it is. I think some people get the totally wrong idea. Like, now there's gonna be build diversity. No, there's not. Like, are you kidding me? No. Like, before the Mythic item update, there was no build diversity. After the Mythic item update, people experimented for a month, and then there was no build diversity again. At the end of the day, so long as items are stats, you build an item to get its stat. And there's not much they can do about that. Until they start making items, like, hard counter certain playstyles or things, or making them, like, very unique, you're not going to see a lot of build diversity. Right now, Bruisers have kind of sort of maybe gotten some build diversity because they pushed Hullbreaker, they pushed Sterex, they're pushing Gore Drinker, Stridebreaker, etc. So, like, Bruisers have some build diversity, but I expect that ult to die because when they go back to legendaries, it'll just be like, do you go Hullbreaker or do you go Sterex? Other than that, it's just going to be the same thing every time. You'll do the same probably Black Cleaver, Death Stance, whatever legendaries get made out of mythics, etc., right? They'll probably push Trinity into a legendary. They probably won't push Divine Sunder if I had to guess. So then all the auto attackers will go back to Trinity. 80 carries will be Rapid Fire Cannon into Infinity Edge into Lord Dominic's again. I mean, fundamentally, the problem is every single 80 carry has to go Infinity Edge, has to go Lord Dominic's. Every single mage has to go Hourglass, Deathcap, Void Staff. They've all had to do this for 13 years now. They've made absolutely no progress on it. They've never at any point actually diversified this system. Percent pen plus health damage is way too goddamn good for 80 carries. For mages, Hourglass, Deathcap, Void Staff are all overtuned as shit and are just gonna be what you have to build. The Mythic system was supposed to allow you to have strong items that you can't have two of, and that added some build diversity, and I think people are basically scapegoating the Mythic item for all their problems. All your problems are not caused by the Mythic system. The Mythic system didn't kill build diversity. What killed build diversity was the fact that eventually you get to a certain rank, you get to a certain play where people will not tolerate, let's call it that, your AD Xerath anymore. If you go 80 Xerath, they're just going to get obliterated, right? Like, that's not Riot's fault. And if you're saying, well, there's not enough build diversity within playstyles, then the problem is there's never been build diversity within playstyles. 90% of the time, you're just going to build whatever your class's best items are. Every bruiser is going to end up having a Black Cleaver, very likely. Why? Because Riot pushed Black Cleaver so bruisers could have a good item. Every tank is going to have a Sunfire. Why? Because you need to go Sunfire. Like, there's just, in all of League history, there's never been an alternative to Sunfire. There's just never been one there. So, like, we're just going to go back to, if you're a tank, you're going to have Thornmill, you're going to have Sunfire, you're going to have Gargoyle Stoneplate. Now you won't have a Mythic, so maybe, and hopefully they push some of these Mythics, but, like, if you think ZZ Rod's going to be changed into a legendary that everyone can get, no. They're going to stomp that shit into the ground. ZZ Rod will either get nerfed so bad it won't be built on anyone, then removed, or they'll just skip the middleman and they'll just remove it to begin with. Arena's removed at the Soul Fighter event, then it comes back in December. Before December, Nexus Blitz comes back in October. This is probably some cool stuff. Riot lied. I don't even remember about what this time. I was making a joke, but Riot lied. Who cares? New bots for co-op. These are supposed to be really easy bots, won't change anyone's gameplay. Hopefully people can get in the game better. And Skarner is still never coming because Skarner just never gets reworked, ever. You want me to be blunt? I'm going to tell you guys, this is exactly the problem with Skarner. Riot doesn't want to do a Skarner update. Like, there's no one working at Riot right now who actually wants to do a Skarner update. And so because of that, it's not getting done because no one is enthusiastic about it. No one's actually like, no one wants to do it. It would be like if I told you, go give me the best Graves update in the world. You'd be like, well, I don't really play Graves. I don't really give a shit about Graves. Well, exactly. They don't play Skarner. Like, you think any of these developers play Skarner? If they're inspired and if they have like the right mental space, they might be able to do a champion they're not that interested in. They might be able to come up with some cool ideas. But if someone just kicks in the door, runs up and goes, you, Skarner rework, now, you're not going to have ideas. You're not going to be inspired, right? So it makes sense. I don't know a better way to do it, right? Because it's not like they're just not inspired. The community voted to do a Skarner update, and they've just been dragging their feet because they have no ideas. They don't care. They don't want to. And yeah, of course, an Ahri update will be done faster than a Skarner update because they likely play Ahri. They likely play Ahri, and they've got time in Ahri, and they've probably got ideas. Having played Ahri, they're probably like, oh my god, I think I can do this. Now, is that right? Is that wrong? Look, if these developers played Skarner and they put time in, sure, they could maybe come up with some ideas, but I'm going to be blunt. We have seen time and time again that the Riot developers are pretty biased. If they don't play Skarner, then they just aren't going to be inspired. If they play Skarner, I mean, part of the issue with Skarner to begin with, fundamentally, part of the problem is that he's just about the hit him with the E, then you run up, alt, E stun, use a second E stun them again. Great, cool. That's fun for the Skarner player. That's not fun for anyone else. So the problem is, if you were to do a Skarner update, would you remove that? I would remove that. 100% I would remove that. I would make it so that removing or ulting someone with Skarner would remove the E. So you could not double E after an R. I would not let you triple stun with Skarner because that's really unfun to fight. Nobody likes that, right? And so the problem is that who decides what's good for Skarner? Do you think Skarner should be able to still phase rush and ult and then pull people across the map? Do you think Skarner should still be able to triple stun? Do you think Skarner should be this damage machine that goes in melee and kills people? Do you think Skarner should be a high skill champion? Do you want to remove his spires? If I was put on this project, I would be terrified because the Skarner that I would want to make would not be the Skarner that you guys would likely want to make. I would make Skarner, I would probably make him tanky with slows, probably based kind of like a Scion sort of champion where he's got these big abilities, maybe like whack stuff with his tail after kind of like a Scion Q sort of prep, and he's based on like slowing them. Maybe he can ground them if he combos some abilities together so they can't run away. I would probably remove his ultimate entirely because, to be blunt, I think his ultimate is one of the most overpowered abilities that has ever been added into League of Legends, and like 90% of his power budget has to go into that stupid ultimate. Anyway, that's the entire video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, and hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.